The Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority is expressing grave concern about the drop in traffic at the various ports in the country. According to a letter intercepted by JoyNews, the phenomenon started in June of last year as has persisted till date. With government cash trapped, the state is unable to afford any drop in revenue, especially at the ports. It has been inviting key stakeholders at the ports for a meeting to address these concerns. My colleague Kweku Asante joins me in via Zoom with details of this letter. Kweku, when is this letter addressed? When is the letter addressed and to whom, and what does it say? What date is it addressed?
So this letter we've intercepted is dated 27th of March 2023. It is signed by Michael Luguje, the Director General of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. It's addressed to some very key stakeholders within the port industry, the Association of Ghana Industries, the Chamber of Commerce, the Imports and Exporters Association, and a host of other key stakeholders to come around the table. But let me read the content. It says that we have observed a general decline in port traffic in recent times. The phenomenon, according to our data, started in June, July 2022 and has been continuing through the end of the first quarter of 2023 without any sign of improvement. As a major stakeholder in the maritime industry, you are kindly invited to a meeting to discuss this important subject. And this meeting was expected to happen Thursday, 30th March 2023 at 2 p.m. at Gapoa Towers, the boardroom. And these are the details where these specific persons were now being invited by the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority to discuss ways of increasing traffic at the ports. We know government needs a lot of money now, and port serves as one of the key sources of revenue for the government. And with that decline in traffic, it is expected that government revenue will slow down a little.
Also by the Executive Secretary of the Association of Importers and Exporters, Samson Asaki Awingobit. Hope you're doing well. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I'm sure you were copied in this letter. Has that meeting happened?
Yes. My outfit was copied, yes.
You were copied. Has the meeting happened?
Yes. It was, I think, last week, Thursday. Yeah.
The meeting happened last week, Thursday?
Yes, we had the meeting.
What was the outcome of that meeting? In fact, what really did you discuss in that meeting? Well,
good morning to your cherished viewers, and I hope you're doing well in the Ramadan period.
Inshallah.
We hope that Allah will take you through 30 days fasting and prayers period. I was unable, and I'm not eased at discussing a letter that purported to have come from our stakeholder, which is the Ghana Port and Harbour Authority, inviting we, the key stakeholder, to discuss about the drop, the sharp drop in terms of traffic at the port, because they've trusted us, and that's why they've invited us. I think many media houses have called me to discuss this, and I said, why wouldn't they reach out to Ghana Port and Harbour Authority? But at another leg, I said, okay, well, it's not my outfit, it's not Import Export Association who put this letter out, and I can vow to that because I did not put this letter out, and I don't know how the media was able to get, because there was no media house was copied, but I don't know how they are able to get this intercepted letter. But it's a public place, of course. Anything can happen. This is probably not the first time a letter is leaked in this country. The issue is that it is true. It is such a bad situation. Get like your reporter said, the figures are not all that good. I think in our meeting, we were made to, if I can get some figures, we were made to understand that last year, 2021, they did 1.5 million TU, and 2022, they did 1.2 million TU, 1.51 million TU on last 2021, and 2022, it dropped to 1.2. And if you look at total total cargo, both clinker, liner cargo, whatever, plus container cargo, the volume has dropped to 1.2 million metric tons. So what it means is that it will affect GPHA its own internal generated revenue. Hence, perhaps if they have obligations to pay their debtors or their staff, and also take expenses in terms of maintaining their equipment and retooling, buying new equipment to come to boost the operations of the port, of course, it's going to affect their revenue, because if more cargo is not coming, they take handling charges. That's why they have a living. So it means that if more vessels are not calling to the port, no more cargo is coming, that means it's going to affect them. The other aspect is that it's going to affect the revenue as a country, because before GRA comes out with their targets for the year, the GRA is made up of two divisions, the domestic division and the custom division. The custom division is in charge of duties and taxes, the international trade, and then the domestic is in charge of your salary, your income tax, and then your corporate institution as a corporate institution of multimedia group. At the end of the month, you pay corporate tax to the state. So what it means that most at times they don't get much from the domestic. Okay. Much comes from the import. So anytime Tema Harbour, especially Tema Harbour, if Tema Harbour revenue drop, then clearly GRA will not meet its own target. Okay. So largely the influencer factor that makes total drop of cargo in the port is as a result of inflation due to exchange rate last year and the total reversal of the benchmark values that the government reversed. Remember, the government took away 20% and promised us that they were going to set up an ad hoc committee to deal with the issues before they would take off. And we're discussing around the clock as to whether would they give us a flat rate fixed at the port. So maybe 3 months or 6 months subject to review. But before we see Jack, October, November last year, they said they are just reversing it without even recourse to any consultation. So that alone, where before the total reversal of the benchmark values, we can take this Uber cars, where an Uber car Twitter Vic used to be paid like say 15,000 Ghana cedis or 17,000 Ghana to clear at the port, suddenly shoot out like 40,000 or more. Then if those who bring in Toronto cooking oil or this consumer product, where before the reversal of the benchmark value, where they used to pay like 80,000 or 70,000 to clear a container, now you have to pay over 150, 160 to 200,000. And as I speak with you now, people are paying over 270,000 to get to clear one container at the port. So that has caused fear and panic, and that has made our port become very expensive, coupled with the shipping lines local handling charges as well, madam. So these are all the factors that is making importers not. And so if you look at 2022, around July, August, September, you realize that the cedi depreciation went very badly. So it affected people who had matured to pay their suppliers. And now they had bargained with their suppliers to say, okay, in my country, I will pay before July, August, I will pay my LC will mature, letter of credit will mature. The payment would have, I was earmarking myself to say maybe cedi would have rose to, let's say, 8 cedis to $1 or 10 cedis. Now, little do we know that the cedi would get went to like 14.5%. So it affected many people. So beginning of this year, January, February, March this year, many people have not even brought any cargo to this country. Okay. And the fuel that brought the cargo to, we've seen the duty shot up. And so there's fears. What is happening is that there's cargo in the goods in the market, but you and I cannot ascertain as to where the goods are coming from. These goods, we said cargo, from where I said, we told Gapor that the cargo has moved to Togo and Agric. They too said that when they cross-checked with Togo port, they realized that there's no any increase in cargo saying that I've cleared a container at Lome port and bringing it to Ghana. They're not indicating their books. Okay. However, what we saw is that many people have gone there to put up warehousing. So they will clear the cargo there, they'll go and stock it in their warehouse. So by Togo books, is goods meant to consume in Togo. Yeah. Then they now find ways and means to bring those goods into the country. Ghana. So what is happening is that government will not get the needed taxes at the port. You can only get income tax, VAT. Yeah. So what it means is that it will affect the final analysis of government revenue. So today, as we speak, I think February, I had the Commissioner of Customs, the Commissioner General of Ghana Revenue Authority on your platform saying that looking at the figure he saw between January and February, he's optimistic that by the end of this year, GRA would meet its target. I beg to differ. The figure that he used to do that analysis, probably for me, it is December figures that people could not pay. So they are accounting December revenue into January and February. If they want, go back and ask GRA. They should give a real revenue that they collect, they raise from January and February. You will not see anything because there's no increase of cargo in the port. So perhaps if there's any revenue increase, if there's any sudden revenue increase, then because in December, because of the push, the benchmark value of, so duties shot up.
Okay.
So probably they've closed the 31st December. The cargo was people were still clearing cargo, people were still paying duty. That's what we've seen. But it doesn't mean that there's any increase in cargo at the port. So definitely it's going to affect, coupled with this 3%, 3 bill that the government, and before even then, before the benchmark value reversal or after the benchmark total reversal, there is this 2.5% VAT too.
Okay.
In the 2020, which was approved or who was passed in the 2023 budget.
Yeah.
It has been implemented in January. So that too have led up to a cost of doing businesses in our port. And so, whilst there's a drop in cargo, there's no way government would make the needed revenue that the Commissioner General was talking about.
And this would also affect your businesses. I mean, those of you who import.
Yes, it's affecting the cost of doing businesses. It's also going to affect, if at the end of the day, someone who used to bring 10 containers in a month has suddenly dropped to, let's say, 5 or 2, or even someone has not even, from January to now, someone has not even brought 1 container. It's going to affect all of us, not only the importer. It's also going to affect consumers as well, because the few goods that is in the system, if you are a business person, you look, because there will be shortage. If this is how it's going to continue, the trend is going to continue, then there's going to be shortage in July, in June, July, August. Then people can just lock their goods, and when that time comes, they will increase the prices and they'll make more money.
What's the way forward, Mr. Awingobit?
Well, now that we are complaining about, you see, we said 2% special levy, import levies at the port is supposed to go off in the books. It's still there.
Yeah.
The 2.5 VAT that they've increased VAT cost, making it 15%, has brought a cost to us. We were thinking that at least the government would have hold on to that. Now that they've even succeeded in implementing it, then this 3 bills that has been passed by Parliament, coming to increase the cost of doing businesses to all of us. Suddenly, people thought it's only the importers. It's not only the importers. What people have not taken the time or the pain to read through to understand what this tax is going to affect. Let me give you those that these taxes are going to affect. Now, if you are going to drink a bottle of water now, assuming the president signed this into bill now, and BRD is implementing, if you are going to drink water, madam, water is normally depending on which location you find yourself. Yeah. You can buy 5 series or 3 series or 2 series, 50 pesos. Now, with this percentage, 20% increment is going to cost you no less than 6 series or 4 series or 5 series to buy a bottle of water.
Depending on where you buy it.
Can cook, come on. Now that you're doing fasting or our brothers and sisters are doing fasting, at the end of the day, they may need canned cook or malt or fruit juice, multi-fruited juice or fruit to get to drink. Now, this VAT are all going to affect.
Will affect.
It's going to affect both. This excise duty is going to affect both import and manufacturing. Yeah. It's not only the importers alone. Those who are also producing in Ghana here. So the point is, we are asking government that if you say you are moving from taxation to production, and now you are bringing these taxes on the people, on the manufacturers. Well, a coffee juice is under 1 factor. Are they going to be exempted? I didn't see anywhere they say that they are going to exempt them. So
it will affect everyone.
Then aside that one, there's 2.5% for other businesses. The other businesses include your media houses, include the one who's selling the sofa container shop here, including the one who have a container sitting there and you go and buy a ideal milk to come and do tea this morning. It also compares those who are at Makola and other things. So that is going to be a cost. Again, the banks, the 5% profit before tax is also going to affect business people, especially importers. Because these are the people who keep on doing transfers to pay their suppliers, keep on doing transfers to pay, maybe if it's a manufacturer. There are some manufacturers you can't carry fiscal cash to go and give them. You have to pay, transfer money to pay them. So the banks will also come on with another charges on you. Then the shipping lines. This country, my dear, we've been talking about one of the cardinal point that is making our port very expensive. Not about Ghana Port and Harbour Authority. When they say port, people thought it's a Ghana Port and Harbour Authority. But the shipping line, my dear, let's say Asake is bringing 10 containers on 1 BL. 1 BL is a document that covers to say that I've actually given my containers to a shipping line to bring it. It got to Ghana here, I paid freight, not less than $12,000 or more to bring it to Ghana Port. Then they will say, come and pay, after I'm going to pay due to like say $270,000 to state. Then shipping line will tell them they have what we call the local handling charges. I have to pay 10,000, assuming the containers are 40 container. I have to pay 10,000 Ghana cedis. Even if they say 10,000 Ghana cedis just for the bill of lading alone, I won't say much. But they will say 10,000 times the number of containers on one document. So you have to pay 10,000 times 10 containers.
If you have 10
that is also making it very, very expensive on the business community. That will continue saying that who is regulating these shipping lines? Because this ship line, when you go to Africa Coast and Togo and other things, that's not the charge they're putting there. So this country, there's no law regulating. The Cyprus authority pretend to say they are authority, but they are nothing. There's no law there. Now that I heard that the transport minister is trying to go to parliament to get it, because the last time, one of the members of parliament, a ranking member, threatened the transport minister in parliament that if next time 2024 budget comes and he doesn't come to amend the Ghana Cyprus law to make it more fashionable, more biting, then they will not support him to approve their budget. Maybe, I don't know how far that bill has gone through, that amendment has gone through. But I can tell you, where we sit now, the shipping lines in this country is having their free day in Ghana. There's no law. Nobody's regulating it. Whatever they decide to do, they get pass it on, even to the extent that at the time, I'm sure 2022, when we were hovering between 14.5 for $1, I'm sure they were even using, like, let's say, 20 series to $1. That's how they do their things. And nobody is questionable. I've gone to the Minister of Finance, I've raised it before the Minister of Finance. The Minister of Finance looked into my eyes and told me that he is not in charge of monetary policy. It is the Bank of Ghana. You go to the Bank of Ghana and say they are not in charge of fiscal policy. Coupled with inflation, the
business
coupled with the prime rate, 29.5% at the Bank of Ghana now. Interest rate is killing us. So we can no longer, even this continental free trade that we are having right now in this country, the headquarters is sitting here, Ghanaians are not benefiting.
Guta, AGI, Chamber of Commerce, I know they've all petitioned the president, especially on these new taxes, which they say would collapse their businesses. Are you going to do the same?
Yes, I think if those your team that came to the press conference on was it on Tuesday? Yes, on Tuesday. I moderated. I was the MC for the program. The business community made up of my organization, Importers and Exporters Association of Ghana, the Ghana National Chamber of Commerce, the Federation of Ghanaian Labour, Abraham Kumson, you know, Mr. Abraham Kumson, the Food and Beverages Association, they give Quebec, Archak,
and all of them.
All of them. And what it happens is that it has never happened that you see the government introduce, not only this government, introduce a tax component, then you have all the institutions saying it's a non-starter. That is what is happening. So we are going to sign. We are yet to petition the president. I think this week, I've seen the final write-up last night. All of us are going to sign. Then we'll petition through the Minister of Trade. I think today or tomorrow we'll send the petition to the president, because we think that the Minister of Trade is our minister. He must intervene in this regard. So that petition, my signature will be there, and the rest of my colleagues' signature will be there. So we intend to convince His Excellency the President that, look, can we have a conversation? Because prior to your minister sending this bill to Parliament, there was any engagement. It has never happened that AGI is also saying that relation red flag. National Chamber of Commerce, you don't hear of this.
For AGI, they were consulted, but they say their input was not taken, and so they are agitated.
So what is the consultation for?
So let's see how it goes.
It should be a win-win situation.
Let's see how it goes when you petition the president, and we're hoping that something better will happen, because once businesses suffer, it will affect the consumers, because definitely you will shift the prices to us. Thank you very much.
Absolutely, that's what's going to happen. If the president, we hope that the president will listen to us and will engage us. Other than that, if GRA issue the guidelines and it goes ahead to be implemented, definitely cost of doing business is going to be high. And it will also make cost of living difficult. I'm also a consumer myself. Likewise, yours. We also go to the same market. Mr. Wingobe, thank you very much
for coming. Now, let's move on to other stories. A 54-year-old electrician has been arrested by Revenue Protection Task Force of Electricity Company of Ghana for installing illegal meters and extorting money from customers. John Fofi was arrested in his hideout at Kunsu in the Hafuano Southwest District of the Ashanti region. Police retrieved 8 fake electricity meters embossed with ECG logo during a search in his house. On him, interior of our security desk has more.
The ECG Revenue Protection Task Force has been ruthless with customers who owe the power company in electricity bills and engaged in illegal connections. Out of the 5.7 billion Ghana cedis owed by electricity consumers nationwide, the Ashanti region accounts for 1.2 billion Ghana cedis, representing 21% of debt owed. The task force, whilst on operation, detected some fake meters installed by the suspect at Kunsu and its environs. Owners alleged John Fofi supplied the meters. Further investigations led to the arrest of the suspect in his hideout, where the police retrieved 8 fake meters. Engineer Kofi Danso is the Ashanti Regional Revenue Protection Manager.
A team from the Ashanti SBU headquarters that went to Kunsu in line with the revenue mobilization exercise. Then we chanced upon a customer who has abandoned the official ECG recognized meter and have installed these unauthorized or fake meters because there's debt in the original ECG meter. We intended to arrest him directly, but then he led us to the corporate who came to install the meter for him. So yesterday, the corporate was arrested, sent to the Buakwa police station, and then we went with the corporate to his house, and we found additional meters together with our moratorium. If you all remember, ECGMD gave a moratorium that all people who have this unauthorized or meters that are unknown to ECG come forward, then let ECG help you regularize it. That exercise expired in December. Unfortunately, unscrupulous people have made duplicates of our moratorium notice, and they keep installing these fake meters for customers, and then when they install it, they give you that moratorium, indicating that as if it's ECG who has authorized them to do that.
According to Engineer Danso, the task force will leave no stone unturned in its quest to block all revenue leakages, including dealing with illegal connections and fake meters. At least 15 million Ghana cedis has been retrieved from customers who owe ECG in the Ashanti region. But how widespread is the issue of fake ECG meters in the region? Engineer Danso again.
This is affecting us seriously. It is all over the place. A lot of the customers who owe us, they abandon our meter and they go for these fake meters so that they never pay. I have a lot of cases. They charge between the 1,000 and as much as 2,500. And they install this. At Risk Coast alone, if I'm not mistaken, more than 50 customers were using these illegal meters. So we have disconnected them, we have summoned them.
From Kumasi, for JoyNews, Oimeteria reporting.
And so on tariffs, Ghana Water Company is going after its debtors with a focus on retrieving 680 million cedis in debt. The first day of the exercise focused on companies in the Nungua district. One company out of 4 visited has been disconnected over non-payment of bills worth 163,000 Ghana cedis. Managing Director for the Ghana Water Company, Dr. Clifford Brima, says it's out of intents to retrieve 4.7 million Ghana cedis from various industries who owe in the Nungua district. The company says it's struggling to meet its aim of supplying water because of the refusal of customers to pay their debts. There's more in this report.
This has been one of the major national exercises by the Ghana Water Company Limited to retrieve 680 million Ghana cedis owned by its customers. The team took to the Nungua district to recover a debt of 4.7 million Ghana cedis. Printers, Walker Building System, U-Fresh Company and Kata Company Limited were the major defaulters. Out of the 4, Beverage Factory U-Fresh Company Limited was disconnected over non-payments of bills worth 163,000 Ghana cedis. Managing Director for Ghana Water Company, Dr. Clifford Brima, cautioned staff not to spare any defaulters.
We should not be thinking for the customer. Let the customer think for themselves. Some of them will say that because there's no flow in our pipes, we are not going to pay. We are not a prepaid company. We are a postpaid. Going to collect your bills means that some water has been consumed. And whatever water that has been consumed, there was chemical use, electricity used, and they need to be paid for. And so somebody cannot say that because he's not going to get water tomorrow, he's not going to pay for what he spent yesterday. I don't think there's logic in it. And we must not give the customers that opportunity to use that as a basis not to pay. Once your meter reads, it means that you have consumed. And we are asking for what you have consumed, but not what you are yet to consume. And so when we get to you, don't tell us, oh, we don't get regular flow. Yes, we know we don't get regular flow, but your meter has read. It means that some water has passed there. And we use chemical, we use electricity to produce that water. So let's go out strong enough and retrieve the money. And at the end of it, the company becomes good. Ghanaians who are even resistant to pay will pay because we improve our services. Without that money, we cannot improve our services at all. We have chemical suppliers to pay, we have electricity to pay, we have our pipe suppliers to pay, we have valve suppliers to pay. How do we make the money if somebody who has consumed your water sees that because he's not getting water tomorrow, he's not going to pay for what he spent yesterday? I don't think it's logical enough, and we should not allow them to do that.
Textile manufacturing company Printers owes Ghana Water over 3 million Ghana cedis. They paid half of the amount. Dr. Clifford Brimer believes this is in the right direction.
Printers was recategorized because they have two product lines here. One line for printing the fabrics, and the second one is for their drinks. There's Frutali and Calipo. And we recategorized them, and the unit rates went higher. So they were disputing that they didn't understand why we should put them on the higher rate instead of on the lower rate. And for us, we are looking at balancing and making sure that we are able to generate the revenue for our operations. But the subsequent review from February, they are up to date, and so we came to talk about the arrears. We have agreed on the paying the 50%, which they have done, and the other one will go and look at the numbers and see what is left for them since they disputed the figures.
He also revealed that pronouncement by the Electricity Company of Ghana concerning the debt owed by Ghana Water Company Limited was not done in the right direction.
Regions do not pay for the production centers of Ghana Water Company for electricity. The headquarters does, and the regions are responsible for the payment of the office premises and accommodation, which they have been paying. And so if there are arrears on the region for a particular system, it has to be at the head office. And the head office also is being catered for through the ESLA. Some of the production centers' electricity are being paid by government through ESLA. And when they pay through ESLA, then we distribute the credits across the production centers. So all the regions will get the credit. So if they do not come to their head office and they sit in the regional levels, they will be misrepresenting the issues. And so the 17 million that they were talking of in Volta region and threatening to disconnect them, it was unnecessary.
The Ghana Water Company Limited's connection exercise is still ongoing, and it is expected to continue until all debts have been paid off. Jacqueline Ansuma-Yeboah's report for JoyNews.
Don't be fooled by the frontage of eateries. That's a caution from the environmental health officers at the AMA, who are asking patrons of eateries to look out for the sanitary conditions in the kitchens as well. Our latest checks show that some eateries invest more in their frontage and little attention is paid to food safety. The Assembly is worried that food may be contaminated and in some of these kitchens and sold to unsuspecting consumers. My colleague Michael Ashali has excerpts from this week's Joy Clean Ghana campaign.
At first glance, you'd see a serene and relatively clean eating area. The kitchen, however, was dirty, according to the AMA officials. That's the situation at this restaurant at Mamprobi Sempe.
So it means you have made your entrance nice, but where the food is actually coming from is filthy. So we are going to summon you for failing to comply with food safety standards.
The inspection showed that the eatery was nothing close to clean after all. District Environmental Health Officer of the Accra Metropolitan Assembly and team lead George Lawson wants patrons to be vigilant while eating at any eatery.
After the camp, after this thing is emptied, it's not clean, it's not washed, and it doesn't have any cover. So flies from here will go to the kitchen and contaminate the food.
From there, the team visited Choco in the Ablikuma South Sub-Metro. First, the team inspected a bakery.
You can see some dresses over there. Now, as a bakery, there should be a separate room for there should be a separate cloakroom where the staff here, the workers, can change. You understand? But they don't have, so they are hanging their clothes where they even do the kneading. Now look at the bread. The dough is on the floor. There's no pallet. So everything is just on the floor before they will put inside the oven.
Then, a tabletop business that sells colored chicken, branded and sold as turkey tail.
The point is, if it is food color, we don't have problem with that. But if it is a color that is not food color, we have a problem with it. Because food colors are acceptable. Okay. Yes, but if it is not food color, then we have a problem with it. Secondly, you can see that the food is exposed to dust and flies. It's just by the road. Now, you finish frying this, at least you should take it and put it in your sieve immediately. You don't have to leave it on the open space for dust and flies to get access to this. Yes, it can lead to contamination.
The Accra Metropolitan Assembly is committed to ensuring the safety of the city's food supply and will continue to conduct regular inspections of eateries and food businesses. Patrons are encouraged to be vigilant and report any concerns to the appropriate authorities. For JoyNews, Michael Ashale.
Dr. Peter Apiahene has been a fully fledged MPP Director of IT, Patron and Communications Team member in the Bono region, cannot be trusted at the Electoral Commission. That is the position of the NDC in the Bono region. The NDC at a press conference in Sunyani says the President must revoke Dr. Apiahene's appointment to ensure a smooth collaboration with the Electoral Commission. We'll be bringing you more in that story, but the Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery Department of the Komfo-Anokye Teaching Hospital could soon grapple with congestion as cases of burns and scalds increase in the Ashanti and adjoining regions. The department recorded 38 cases of severe burn admissions in the last 3 months, representing an average of 13 cases per month. Health officers at the hospital attribute the increase in cases to delayed reports of accidents to hospitals and mismanagement of inflamed wounds at the initial stages by parents and some medical professionals.
Childhood burn injuries occur in and around the home. Children below the ages of 5 are identified as the majority group. They endure excruciating pains from inflamed skin burns caused by hot liquids like water, soup, and porridge. Research indicates most burn injuries are recorded in rural Ghana and frequently occurred in households with unsafe cooking arrangements. The accidents may be preventable with improved understanding of modifiable household risk factors and targeted initiatives. However, little is known about these risks as most households lack protective mechanisms, while caregivers like pregnant mothers tend to neglect their older children. Dr. Emil Tano is a consultant at the Plastic and Reconstructive Department of CARTH.
When the people are many, it's very difficult to handle the kids. And most of the time, what I have come.
Go back to our earlier story where the NDC in the Bono region is asking President Akufo-Addo to revoke the appointment of Dr. Apiahene to the Electoral Commission to ensure smooth collaboration. Precious Samevo has more.
Since President Nana Akufo-Addo swore in the 3 new commissioners of the Electoral Commission on March 20, 2023, Dr. Peter Apiahene's appointment continues to receive strong opposition. The latest is the National Democratic Congress, NDC, in the Bono region, where they said at a press conference that Dr. Apiahene has been a patron of TESCON at UNE, an IT director, and a communicator for the governing NPP in the region, and hence cannot be trusted to be an independent-minded person. Charles Akowa is the regional communications officer.
He's a political activist. We've been with him in Sunyani. He has been on radio programs with my reps on radio stations and other places. So it will be very difficult for us to accept him as an EC official, which he has demonstrated that he's biased towards the NPP, who has been a patron for more than 4 years, a communicator with the regional communication team. We have his videos. I don't think any fair-minded person will select such a referee.
Mr. Kowa further alleged that Dr. Piahini represented the MPP at the EC in the Bono region during the 2020 elections, and they are unable to accept such a person at the EC.
He was at the EC 2020 representing the MPP as their IT person. Such a person who has been with my regional secretary arguing on figures and data, and you go and meet the same person representing the EC as an EC official. Do you think any political party beside the MPP can trust such a person to do the right thing? It will be very difficult to accept the man. We think even if they allow him to take care of just documentation, we suspect the guy can tamper with a document.
The NDC is appealing to the Council of State and other stakeholders to appeal to the President to revoke Dr. Piahini's appointment immediately for a smooth collaboration with the EC.
The Regional Communication Office, on behalf of the NDC, will appeal to the Council of State to consider their earlier advice on the appointment of Dr. Peter Piahini. The Regional Communication Office duly serves notice to the general public of the intention to serve petition and copies of this evidence to the National Peace Council, the Catholic Bishop Conference, the Council of State, the National Muslim Conference, and all the relevant bodies to appeal to the President to immediately revoke the appointment of Dr. Peter Piahini in order to have a smooth collaboration with the Electoral Commission going into the 2024 election.
Dr. Peter Piahini currently heads the Department of Computer Science and Informatics of the University of Energy and Natural Resources in Sunrai.
Pedestrians are alarmed by the increasing disregard for road safety regulations by drivers on the road. According to them, even at zebra crossings where drivers are supposed to stop for pedestrians to cross, they have not adhered to that, which usually leads to fatal accidents. They are therefore calling on authorities to ensure that drivers comply with safety regulations. Samuel Mbora has more.
Black and white stripes you have seen on this road is not for the purposes of decoration, but it is a signal to drivers that this is for the passage of pedestrians. So for that reason, you have to slow down. But that is not a situation here on the Awoshi Ablekuma highways here in Accra. The residents are alarmed about the fact that the drivers are flouting the road safety regulations and killing whilst injuring people as a result of that. They are expecting that authorities should educate the drivers and also put in place drastic measures to address the pedestrian knockdowns here at Awoshi.
Say wabusuani beti ha ubon say ya wa say ne famu pa wudi be 2 years time boy bia oton ne niema.
The accidents that occur on this road are uncountable. People get seriously injured and die from crashes on this road.
Last week,
even last week, 2 boys sustained injuries from a motor crash. Our major problem is these drivers don't respect the pedestrian signals. They drive at top speed. We want authorities to act on the situation because we are living in danger.
Drivers don't normally stop when they even see pedestrian crossing. Unless, let's say, the road is free for us to pass. But if they see us here, they just go. They don't stop. And that is the problem.
There have been frequent accidents on this stretch of the road because the drivers do not obey the pedestrian signals. Instead of them to slow down for us to pass, they drive at high speed. I lost my sister in an accident on this road last year.
The drivers, they knock children as if they don't know the regulation. So I think if we have a big zebra crossing to let them see or to know that there's a zebra crossing here. At times, the signs are here, but many of the drivers doesn't know that the zebra crossing is here.
The drivers don't respect pedestrians. We have to run to be able to cross the road. Just last week, a woman was killed by a speeding driver. No one cares about the pedestrians, whether school children, old people, or whoever you are. What can solve the situation is for the driver to be disciplined.
Because driving
there have been efforts by authorities to ensure that cases related to pedestrian knockdowns on our road are reduced drastically. This has been manifested in the first quarter report of the National Road Safety Authority, which indicates that pedestrian knockdown has reduced by over 23%. And there are still collaborative efforts to ensure that the situation is addressed or reduced drastically for 2023. But until drivers comply with the road safety regulations, this particular target will be a mirage. Reporting for JoyNews, Samuel Mbura, Accra.
Have you ever wondered why Muslim women, particularly women, dress much more decently in the month of Ramadan compared to the 11 other months? Well, in the following report, my colleague Anas Sabit in our Ramadan series has been speaking with Malama Aisha Muhammad Swala, a public speaker, an author, and a life coach, for more on this development.
In Islam, the rule of dress for women is modesty. Muslim women are required to observe the hijab in front of any man they could theoretically marry. Whilst modesty rules are open to a wide range of interpretations, some Muslim women wear full-body garments that only expose the eyes, although there is no Quranic text requiring this extreme. For Malama Aisha Muhammad Swala, an author, a life coach, and a public speaker, being modest as a Muslim woman goes beyond the mere covering of the human body.
Modesty is not just about the veil itself, it's more than that. Modesty is about our identity as Muslim women. It is about our haya, our behavior, and the shyness between us and our Lord, the shyness between us and the angels, the shyness between us and the people surrounding us, and the shyness between us and ourselves. So modesty is beyond that. It's about everything that concludes us as Muslim women.
Well, a visit to a Muslim community in and outside Ramadan reveals a clear disparity on how Muslim women dress, with most of them looking more covered in the month of Ramadan compared to the 11 other months. Madam Aisha says this shows how Muslim women endeavor towards changing from bad to good when Ramadan visits.
Normally, we see Muslim women trying their best to change in Ramadan, but the problem is after the Ramadan, they go back to the way they are. And I'll not say that it is bad, but there's no harm in trying. But everything is about the intention, because intention is in the heart. And the sincerity in intention, the scholars are saying that it is something that is between the Lord and his creator, and even the angels cannot interfere. So far as you are trying your best to change in Ramadan, then try your best, because Ramadan is about like connection, about taqwa, to gain God consciousness. So the intention comes first. So far as you intend to change, then start with the dressing, but don't change after Ramadan, because the Lord of Ramadan is the Lord of the rest of the month, and you cannot fool anyone but yourself.
For Barhat Jamal, a radio presenter at Gaskia FM, she tells me how excited she feels seeing Muslim sisters dressed decently during this period.
When it comes to Ramadan, I can say there is this compulsory or by force iman that comes to the heart. Yeah, I feel excited because they are following the teaching of Islam. because that's how Islam asks us to dress, and they are following it. And I even pray for them to continue. That's why I pray for them to continue. Yeah.
Ishafat Mohammed, also known as Cindy Shaban on her part, tells me more Muslim women dress much more decently during the month of Ramadan due to the intensity of various lectures organized by Islamic scholars within the month.
During Ramadan, immediately you see a Muslim lady, you know that she's a Muslim. And even the malams, the imams, during Ramadan, you see that the preaching is high. They will preaching, you have to dress like this, you have to do this. But if you are not in the Ramadan, unless maybe it's Friday, you go to mosques and listen, or even the ladies, they only listen to preachings or Islamic teachings in Ramadan.
To keep this modest form of dressing beyond Ramadan, particularly for young children, Barhat suggests that Muslim parents need to change their style of child upbringing from being harsh to being polite to their children.
For parents, I think they have a very big role to play, though some are trying their best, but the kids are not listening. So they have to be very disciplined. Very disciplined. I mean very disciplined. Because if you talk to the girl and she's not listening, you have to find some ways to talk to her. Because there are some ladies, when you talk to them politely, they will listen rather than shouting on them. So if you are talking harsh and you're not listening, talk to them politely, they will change.
Malam Aisha was, however, quick to urge Muslim women who are trying to change within this month to do so with a pure intention. By doing so, this will become a habit even outside Ramadan.
We'll take a break. We'll bring you a business shortly.
Hello, good morning. Warm welcome to the business segment on Joy News Desk with me, Pius Kojobaka. The Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations has reiterated calls on the need for government to partner directly with farmers to enable them access and utilize opportunities in the Agric sector. Speaking at the third edition of the National Dialogue organized by the Ghana Federation of Forest and Farm Producers, National Facilitator of Forest and Farm Facility, Elvis Kuda, urged relevant government agencies to communicate with farmers on developing countries' actionable plans to help farmers survive climate change.
Climate change variability has affected various agriculture and forest-based value chains and contributing to poverty, food and nutrition insecurity, deforestation, among others. The Ghana Federation of Forest and Farm Producers, in helping farmers adapt to climate change, implemented the GAFAP Innovative Climate Action, which turns the challenges to opportunities within the dry savanna landscape of Ghana. National Facilitator of Forest and Farm Facility at FAO, Elvis Kuda, spoke at a national dialogue organized by GAFAP.
Yeah, government has rolled out a number of initiatives relating to climate change and also access to finance, social protection, and also markets as well. And most of these programs have achieved some successes, but you also still have some major challenges where some of these farmers are unable to access these existing opportunities. So this forms an opportunity for government agencies to be able to explain what these opportunities are and what the requirements are, and collectively can agree on an action plan to support GAFAP and its members to meet these requirements and be able to become partners and not just beneficiaries to some of these government interventions.
Vice President of the Ghana Federation of Forest and Farm Producers, Halima Said, disclosed that the forum was aimed at creating a platform to enable farmers network with financial institutions and learn new marketing techniques.
We are here because issues of access to credit has been very critical. Issues of market for our producer organizations, marketing at the right places for the right prices has been very intentional. And then we think that a forum like this or a dialogue session like this creates us that opportunity to be able to discuss. And so far it has been good, because if you see all the invited guests, that organization, they've all come from UN bodies, they are here, from state institutions, they are here. Social protection organizations are here. So it just gives us the hope that we are in for a good cause and we are going to end well. And then at the end of the day, the green recovery that we are all looking for, it will be achieved.
Meanwhile, former Deputy Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, Aisha Ibrahim, indicated that farmers through the dialogue sought to learn how to properly project themselves and highlight their significance to the ecosystem.
We're hoping that if we're able to agree on set goals, what our interests are, what we stand for, what we want to achieve, then we will try to find a way of articulating it well, and our stakeholders and supporters might appreciate it better and see how they can come along with us and support us.
And that's it for business for now. I am Pius Kojo Baka. Back to you, Aisha.
Aisha Ibrahim. Log on to myjoyonline.com for more of the news. My name is Aisha Ibrahim once again. See you again at 12.